there anything that Murray says that you can't understand?
Everything. Everything Murray says is hard to understand.
Probably the thing that probably 90% of people say, yeah, Dawn and Don. You just can't get those for the life of it.
What did I understand? All these words coming out and too hard to understand.
Most of it.
Well, he failed on teaching children New Zealand accent.
Yeah.
He always wanted that, but it never happened.
I feel like I'm sort of close. Having lived in New Zealand, I've got a way of I can understand more of what he says. But there are still times when he makes noises that I just don't understand. Like the whole, oh yeah, I'm going that sort of thing.
I love the way that Murray says car park. And then when he tries to say it in English, it sounds like car park.
Oh, too many things. But I will just go back and ask him, is this a New Zealander or is this English? So, too many things.
What does Murray say that you can't understand?
Most of the things Murray says I can't understand, but the most favorite one I like to quote from him is when he says, I'm gonna bash you.
There are 4 things that he says that I can't understand and I don't know what they are.
He said that New Zealand chocolate is delicious.
Well, I think he's really broadened the school linguistically.
Is there anything that Murray says with his wonderful New Zealand accent that you cannot understand?
His name?
During that time when I came to here, his accent was very difficult to me, but now I can understand everything.
And finally, he got frustrated because the guy must have asked him, would you please speak English? And Murray said, I am speaking English.
Well, actually, besides most of the things he says that I can't understand, probably the one thing that's really hard to understand is when he says the number 6.
Yeah, if I'm ever not paying attention in staff meeting, inevitably Murray will say the word 6, and I'll wake up.
Some people have been a bit confused when Murray's been counting that they thought he was giving a sex ed class.
Yeah, once he wanted to give me a desk, and I didn't know what kind of disc he was talking about.
My favorite saying of Murray's is, who cares?
I can't understand his Amharic, you can say.
Sometimes I don't know what he's saying. It took me a while.
Things like, what's the weather like? And things like that. That is really bizarre.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out how he was able to write with a pin.
Pin.
Pin, like a pencil.
Pin. Special.
Blue
pins.
Blue?
Blue.
Special blue pins.
Pins and pencil.
Right, pens, but pins.
And his pin and his pen and his pin.
Pin and pain and pin and pen.
And finally, the waiter comes out with the food and he sets down a plate of French fries in front of them. And Murray said French fries and the waiter said chips. He said chips. And he said, no, Tibbs! Tibbs, chips.
So fish and chips.
Every vowel is wrong. That's a start.
Actually, it's not when he's speaking, but when he's writing. I think that's in New Zealand. Sometimes we need to just read it upside down or turn it around to read, yeah.
Well, there was a lot that I couldn't understand. The first time I talked to Murray on the phone, I didn't understand a thing that he said, and I just kept saying, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, because that's what's appropriate in my culture.
One time when I was working in the office with Murray, a gentleman came in and needed something written down, and Murray asked him to put it in a letter. And the gentleman had no idea what Murray said. And he said, could you spell that for me? And Murray said, L-E-T-T-E-R. And the man said, oh, a letter.
Often when we meet, we talk about Vegemites. Hope he's going to enjoy his Vegemite when he goes back to New Zealand.
Yeah, at one athletic event, Murray was introduced and he said, yes, I'm the director of the school, and I apologize for my mustache. It's my favorite moment.
One of our first interviews that we did together where you're dead to ask someone during their interview whether they like to be a teacher at Bingham, say the phrase, slap your mama.
And the thing that amazes me is that that teacher actually arrived at Bingham.
Murray showed up to my house about, I don't know, it was one of the first times I ever saw him, and he was dressed up like something. I think, I wondered if it was a woman. I thought, if that's a woman, that's the ugliest woman I've ever seen.
Each team they were asked to give their house a name. And Murray said to Santa Claus, who was doing the judging, our house is called The Beast. And Santa Claus said, The Beast, that's a funny name for a house. When actually Murray was saying the best. It was the best house.
Probably the funniest memory that I had with Murray was after his hip surgery. He decided to show me his scar in his office. And as he was doing that, an unnamed female actually came to the door.
In my phone interview with Murray, I'll never forget the question he asked, because I'm coming from the South, do I have any recipes that are going to make me want to slap my mama?
I think it's pretty much my second meeting with Murray. He started talking about the fact that he's going to raise his daughters to look after him while he's still in his crusty underwear.
Ya plonka?
Ya plonka? Actually, Murray taught me, I never knew what plunker meant. And there's another word that rhymes with plunk, but it starts with a W. And to me, they're the same. So I went and called him this other word once. And apparently that's a really rude term. His jaw dropped and he said, "You can't call people that."
Murray has an uncanny ability to remember a lot of things about you. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's not such a good thing. Like he remembered that my family bought like colour-coded safari clothes when we went on safari.
I don't have a funny memory, we have a funny picture. It's where he got his name, Captain Superpants.
I don't agree with him on everything. For example, I do not share his love of meetings. On the other hand, it has been absolute. I've loved the meetings because I love Murray, not because I love meetings themselves.
And you never know when Murray opens up the Bible what'll come out of it.
Actually, one of the things, occasionally he bores us with what he's been reading. And that can be a problem, can't it? Because Murray says, "Oh, I've been reading this and the Lord's been speaking to me." It's just mundane stuff.
That was actually the first time I met him, I think. I turned off in his office trying to convince him that my kids should go to the school. And he was quite reluctant, so I started crying. And immediately he said, "Okay, bring them on, come on, yeah, that's fine."
So Murray, as he does most mornings, is standing out in the car park waiting to greet everyone, and he stands there with his arms folded, and then 20 minutes later, as he's walking down to the office, I run into him and was asking him a question, and I noticed something he's holding in his arms as he stood there all morning. I said, "What in the world is that you're holding?" And it happened to be one of Jackie's magazines that he'd just picked up in the mail, but on the back of the magazine was a risque photo of a woman. So as he stood there greeting all the parents and students for the morning, everybody got a nice view of Murray's reading material.
Superhero costumes, and I think he's got quite a name for that.
Well, I have thousands of memories of and with Murray, mostly from our mentoring sessions over the last 4 or 5 years, and most things actually couldn't be repeated in public, except for, I'll tell you about this one time when he said